You don't get it. She don't give a fuck. Okay? I asked you not to come and you keep talking to me.
Zach, I'm not leaving you here.
Fatima, can you just please, like...
What are you doing? Now you shutting me out?
This shit is embarrassing. I just don't want to hurt you, like... Please just...
You're not... Zach, I can't leave you.
Can you just go?
All right, Zatima fans. Now, one of the biggest complaints about episode 10, the mid-season finale, it had to do with how Zach treated Fatima during the episode, mainly during the hospital scenes. You know, right after the theme song, and they're sitting in the waiting room, and you know, he kicks her out, and then later on when Fatima returns and Connie's there. And I mentioned this in my review because I made it very clear at the beginning. I didn't approve of how Zach treated Fatima in the hospital, but I think writing wise and acting wise it was well done because you could understand why he did what he did. That doesn't mean I like how he treated Fatima, but at the same time I did understand why Zach, you know, treated her the way he did, mainly due to the embarrassment. I mean, heck, Dr. Reed pretty much called it for what it was, because remember when Fatima stepped out of the waiting room to get on the phone to call him, he mentioned how, what, is he embarrassed about the situation? And she's like, yeah, that's exactly what he told me. So, yeah, it's just one of those things where, and it's hard to say this because it feels like I'm being anti-Fatima here, but it's just one of those things where 1 minute, you know, you're jumping down my throat, and not in the fun way with your tongue, but you're jumping down my throat just being angry, but then at the flip of a switch, you're nice to me. But it's kind of like those memes, like, you know, where it's like your sister, it's like your sibling, it's like your sister, you can't stand each other, but, you know, the minute somebody, it's like, what is it? You know what, I can't stand my sister, but if she needs my kidney or something, like, you know, I got her. You know, it's just one of those things where there's animosity between you and another person you're close with, but when the moment arises, all of that squash so you can, you know, make it through a tough situation together. Case in point, Nathan and Zach, the friction between those two since the finale of season 1 of Zatima. Yet whenever Nathan finds out that Zach is going through something, man, oh man, you went to see your mom like last night. How was that? Are you good? Your mom's in the hospital. Don't worry, man, I got you. I'm right here. So it's kind of weird how the bromance thing can still go on between him and Nathan, and he's cool with him being at the hospital, but, you know, his fiance, he doesn't want her around. But the embarrassment aspect of it is what makes sense, because if you go back to the beginning of that episode, when he wanted Fatima to just go to bed, like, look, you got work and everything tomorrow, it's like, it's okay, I got this, because he doesn't want his fiance to see how bad his family is. But I think that all just goes back to the whole thing regarding how fast these two moved, and you really don't, I mean, there's a saying, which, you know, of you really don't know a person until you live with them, but you two are engaged, yet you don't know next to nothing about the other. Seriously, they don't. I mean, if nothing else, all they know are their urges regarding each other, from Fatima talking about how, yeah, Club Eaton got a lot of men, but none of them are as big as Zach's, or, you know, but Zach just, well, I don't think it's just a lust thing with Zach. Yes, he is attracted to other women, but it's just the quality of woman that Fatima is that sets her apart from everybody else, you know, from what I can tell. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I understand why he lashed out at her, but it was messed up because she was just trying to be there for Zach, and if he would have allowed her to be there, it probably would have, you know, resulted in him avoiding a lot of other drama. But, you know, aside from the embarrassment of the circumstances of his mom, it's also in conjunction with him still being bitter about the Paul situation, the photo from the club, and being dropped off by some guy he didn't even know. All of that combined made it where he didn't want Fatima there because why would I want to be here being comforted by someone who I don't even fully trust anymore? So that's why I feel like he did what he did. Again, I'm not approving of him kicking Fatima to the curb and then being, cuddled up with Connie of all people. But it just goes back to the whole familiar territory of, you know what, me and Connie have a rhythm, or a routine, we know each other well, so I can at least, and she knows the situation with my mom, even though even Connie's like, dang, I didn't know she had it that bad. I thought she was getting a little better. So yeah, going back to old habits is not a good strategy. But like I said before, it was foul for Zach to do what he did. And then even worse, when Fatima did show back up and he was there with Connie, he tried to use his mom's situation as an excuse not to, address the situation with Fatima. Like, look, y'all chill. My mom's sick. I ain't got time for that. No, man. I mean, your fiance comes back because she wanted to see how you were doing since she's heading off to her parents. You're here snuggled up with some girl from your past, and you act like her being upset doesn't matter. And look, I'm not calling out Fatima here, but if we're going to be playing tick for tack, how many times has Zach been upset and Fatima's like, table it until I'm ready to talk about it, as opposed to handling it here, right there in the present. But yeah, that was foul. He's just doing it to hurt her. But for someone to say, no, y'all don't do this. My mom's, sick right now. This ain't the time. Well, Zach, it isn't the time for your pettiness. Sometimes, look, and that's another thing. I know I keep saying it, but I don't like how Fatima always makes Zach put his feelings on hold until she's ready to process something to talk about it. And in those situations where she quote unquote talks, it's only about her being heard and, Zach's feelings be damned. But this was one of those moments where you should have let your woman be there for you. And then from there, you move forward. You deal with your circumstances as they come. But that's one of the biggest problems of the show, where it never feels like anything gets addressed or handled because there's constant shit falling from the sky on these two, mainly Zach. I mean, how can they deal with the Paul situation when his mom is literally left at his front door by his brother? How can they deal with Fatima being mad about the whole dating profile situation, but doesn't matter because Deja is about to sue her? I mean, it never ends. So I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. So yeah, overall, I don't agree with how Zach treated Fatima, but I understand why he did. I'm not saying he should have, but I get why. Remember back when Jonah slapped Danny? And I said I didn't approve of what he did, but I see why he did what he did, because she kept running her mouth. Did a whole video on that. I explained my thoughts on it. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hurt people hurt people. I think DeVal even tweeted that out. But there's a difference between being hurt and being petty as hell. And I'll leave it at that.